Matt Walsh, I just love him. He was saying that basically, yes, people need prison time for this. If this was, if they colluded together to
if that's not
make this
the
happen.
epitome of, what is it called when you, Adam, what's that called?
What now?
Defamation
Oh,
of character?
yes.
Is that it?
Yeah. Yes, it truly is. I mean,
Yeah. You can sue somebody for defamation of character. Well, that is what happened to him.
it is.
That is what happened to him.
what happened, for sure.
Now, you know,
But the FBI agent that Christine Ford knows, I don't know if you've heard this yet or not, but her ex-boyfriend wrote a letter to the Senate Judiciary Committee and said that she actually coached a friend of hers who was becoming an FBI agent how to pass a lie detector test. And that same friend, I forgot what her first name is, but I think her last name is McLean. That same friend contacted Leland Kaiser, who was the friend that Christine Ford mentioned was at the party.
James was at the party.
Okay.
Yeah.
McLean, the FBI agent, contacted Leland Kaiser, and Leland Kaiser is now stating that McLean was asking her to change her story. That's what Leland Kaiser is coming out and saying. Now, again, this is all hearsay. Okay, this is all he said, she said, whatever.
Yeah.
All of this would not hold up in a court of law.
Yeah.
Okay? There's like so many, but there's so many.
There's way too many questions surrounding what she
questions
said,
about- yeah,
as
and
opposed
doubts.
to what is surrounding him.
Right. There's way more
He has
like doubt.
bukus of letters and character references from so many people in his circle for over 30 years.
Right.
Wouldn't there be something there that made any kind of, some sort of questions?
Yeah, something would have come out before now.
Too many people have have confirmed that his character is just impeccable.
Right.
How do you have that many years of great service, such an upstanding citizen, and nothing, and then this case has way too many questions surrounding it? That can't stop you. How can you use that to stop you from even from going on with this? Susan Collins, that's what she pointed out. I was just shocked by her because I don't normally.
It was very
I
good.
don't normally like her that much. But
I was very, very, very pleased with her speech.
yes, she went through, point by point. I heard it said yesterday, she did it in a way that was like when you're watching a show and you're trying to catch up on a show, they'll say previously on whatever show, this, and they'll lead you up to it. Well, that's kind of what she did. She just went back on his life and went through these cases, these specific cases, to argue against what his opponents have been saying. Well, he would be bad on this and bad on this and bad on that. And she's like, well, not really, because here's the evidence here that points to the contrary. And it's marked down on paper because they were actual cases and it's legal.
And he has
You're
not
just making
always,
these crazy claims that he would just overturn Roe v. Wade and all this stuff.
Well, and they're saying he would always side with corporations. Well, he said himself in his op-ed in, what was it, the Washington Post or something?
I think it was.
He wrote an op-ed, and he was just the other night, and he said that he has sided with the working man, he has sided with the corporation, he has never,
It's not always one over the other.
It's not always one or the other. He has, he has followed the law, is what he has stated.
Yeah, and that's all we.
and
that's
all
all
we
you
need him
want.
to
You
do.
want people to do case by case.
As a Supreme Court
and it's
justice.
obvious that he's done that in his many, many years of service. Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, so
We wanted to talk about, feminism and its,
Yes.
how it,
Craziness.
what it's become now,
Yeah.
and how it's basically anti-feminism.
right. It's
Um,
not feminine at all. It's not about being feminine at all.
Yeah.
and
It's
what
about
it
like
truly should mean.
redefining, it's basically redefining what feminine used to be
Yes.
into, well, we want to be just as brash and vulgar, and we want to be just like that. We want to be able to do that without getting vilified for it.
Mm-hmm.
But you will be. You'll continually be, because we don't want you to be that way, and we hated that. But we can be like that now.
Yes, it's as if the modern feminist or social justice warrior has now become the very thing that they hate in men.
Yeah.
That's what they have become. And that's what's so repulsive about it, because these are not the qualities we love in our men. These,
Yeah.
when they're rude or when they're short with us or harsh or condemning or, crass, disrespectful, unloving,
Yeah.
Our feelings are hurt. The men in our lives, like in my own relationship with my husband, if he hurts my feelings or is, more short with me or harsh or, in words or whatever, loses his temper, if a man loses his temper, it hurts your feelings. It's not something you enjoy going through and experiencing. It's unloving. And so, but women are trying to become that. The modern feminist has become those very things that they hate in men and that they've been so hurt by and wounded by, which many of them have been wounded by men. I'm not saying that they have not been. I mean, obviously all of us have experienced pain in some form or another, from heartbreak, from our being mistreated. And some of us have been way more mistreated than others, and I understand that. I understand that there's a large percentage of the women population that have gone through mistreatment at the hands of men, or at the hands of other women even.
However,
but
I think that it's been exaggerated.
Yes.
To some degree.
Yes.
In with the advent of shows like Mad Men, that show that era to be a certain way only. Well, obviously that went on to some degree. However, there were Christian men back then too.
Right.
There were gentlemen back then.
There were good men.
There were good gentlemen who ran good businesses who didn't treat women like that. And there were probably a lot of them.
Right.
But
right.
Now we just want to focus on that, and because that continues the agenda, continues the narrative, to keep going back to, we got to get away from that. We can't have that kind of society, and women have made all these strides, but you're just going to keep pointing back to the way it was. Well, I'm sorry, it's 2018 now. Can we move on? One thing I was thinking about is, with the Me Too movement and all that, they're saying that, people have a voice now. They have the courage to have a voice now. Well, people have had the courage to speak up over the years. There are so many resources, so many avenues to do that now. How do we know they've not been doing that? Maybe they just haven't broadcast it onto social media. The advent of social media, that's where it's all, we have to know everything at all times now. Everything that happens to you has got to be talked about and spread. Well, you can still tell your story in your own family, in your own community, and not broadcast it to anybody. How do you know that's not happening?
Right.
People are telling their stories.
This is what democracy looks like. Basically, my takeaway from these protesters, which that has been the most repulsive thing about this to me. Well, not the only repulsive thing. The other repulsive thing would be the way the Democratic senators have acted and what they've said about Kavanaugh with no basis. That has really repulsed me too, because there's been just no evidence to back that up. And for them to basically hold him responsible for victims that have contacted their Democratic senator offices.
You're going to take
you're
the
gonna,
penalty and the punishment
right,
for
all these people
these women
that are just, coming forward. No, there's no evidence.
We're going to crucify you over it.
Yes, and they've just chosen to make him this, what's the word I'm looking for? This scapegoat. He is the one they're just going to put all the sins on, and he's just going to have to pay for all of it, even though he has not been tried in a court of law, never been found guilty of anything at all relating to this. He's been innocent. He is innocent until proven guilty. In the United States of America, that is how it's supposed to work. Yet their speech about him, I've just been very repulsed by that. And just these women protesters that are all for women's rights that I am just completely just repulsed by. I wanted to just point out how, the definition of feminine, one of the synonyms is ladylike. Okay, I want to go back to that. And one of the, synonyms of ladylike is well-bred, cultivated, refined, polite. And how the ill-bred woman is basically what this comes down to. There are so many ill-bred women and men nowadays. This whole culture, it's the moral compass is just I'm not really sure where it is.
And it's evident in so many different areas, not only in the way we talk to each other, but also in it. You just walk in a mall. Just walk. If you're walking in the mall, notice all the girls that are, about from, tween or teen or whatever, like 12 to 18. They walk around. They're walking around like this. They're all like,
they don't know how to be ladies.
There's no
and
like
just hold themselves.
There's
with
so
poise.
much. I don't know, that disrespect for themselves and the way they look and act.
It's like
people don't know how to hold themselves.
Femininity is gone.
And express their opinions. Like, I've often thought, I want to have like a school for they used to have those like
finishing schools
like, where you can learn to act like a lady or whatever. Maybe
we
not
should bring that back
quite that far, because we do like to sort of kick back and relax or whatever.
Not as if we're always ladylike ourselves.
Right,
I'm not saying
we're not
that
like that, but
there's
something to it. There's something to celebrating what truly makes us a woman.
Yes.
Hi, Olive.
Hey.
Here's a lady.
Hey, Olive, how does a lady act? Gentle. You want to come stand right here?
Gentle.
And look at the camera and tell the camera how does a lady act? Grateful. Oh, that's a really good one. Yeah. Yes, if we have a heart of gratitude, that keeps our manners in line, doesn't it? I mean,
school for manners. That's what we need, a school for manners.
We need, yes. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of just point out how ill-bred, this whole movement is. It's so, oh goodness, what's the word? Hang on. Vulgar. It's not respectable, which is what one of the synonyms of ladylike is. It's not respectable, you guys. These women and men protesters, but mostly I've seen women out there, okay? So disrespectful. It's like they don't know what respect really looks like and why it's important.
Yeah.
And I think the reason why is because we've gotten away from biblical principles in our society so much. And biblical principles, Ephesians 5, where it talks about, a husband's role, a wife's role, those biblical roles that God set in place, that a husband is to love his wife as himself. He loves his wife like his own body, like his own self. And just like Christ loves the church, that's how a husband should love his wife. And a wife sees that she respects her husband and shows him respect and honor. Those things can be so offensive to social justice warriors and women that are just this, they just don't understand it because they don't see with the eyes they don't see it through the eyes of faith and the biblical worldview. But I just wanted to also point out that, when God created the first man and woman, he made Adam and Eve. When they sinned and they ate the fruit, he cursed the snake and he cursed Eve and Adam. And the curse on a woman was, the painful pregnancy and childbirth experience, and that she would desire her husband, but he would rule over her. And there are translations that say that means that she desires his role. She always desires his role, but he will rule over her. Well, the only way that a man can be what he should be and a woman can be what she should be is God. That is all. That is the only way we can be how we should be.
Embodies both feminine and masculine characteristics.
Yes, and that's why
you have man and woman.
Yes,
and when they are partnered, when they're partnered together, that especially when you have a child together, as parents, you have the man and the woman. They are representative of God as a whole.
Yes.
To the child.
Yes.
You have both feminine and masculine qualities, and God embodies both of those. He is a defender and a warrior and a protector, like a man. Those are masculine qualities. And then he's nurturing and merciful and kisses the boo-boos, like
Yes.
And so you have both of those together, which make...
And so knowing that, we can embrace what feminine truly means. We can be feminine and be strong in that. We can embrace our femininity, our true
and we can
gentle
protest,
nature.
But we can do it in a very
appropriate way.
A very dignified manner.
Yes.
A strong, dignified manner.
Yes.
That's not embarrassing to your sex.
Yes.
If you're not taken aback by those things, then you need to check your compass inside, your intuition. Maybe it's a little skewed
from upbringing.
Maybe the conscience is a little bit seared.
Yeah.
And it needs some tuning, because we need to be repulsed by undignified behavior.
Right. I have just been blown away at how this has all transpired, and that this is what's going on in our country. You guys, I typically don't really watch the news and keep up with it because I can't stand I can't stand it. But this past week I have had such interest in this case for Judge Kavanaugh, and I just wanted to weigh in on my views on what feminine really should mean. And what we should be like as ladies, and how we should get back to that as a society. We should be ladies, and teach our daughters to be ladies, and teach our sons to be gentlemen, and treat ladies with respect. And anyway, I did want to point out that another thing that I've really been thinking about through this whole thing is how, Adam and I went through this marriage series through our church called Love and Respect. And it's all based on Ephesians 5, where the man sees that he loves his wife as himself, and just as Christ loves the church. And the wife sees that she respects her husband because that's what is needed. Ephesians 5:22 through 33. And it talks about just the man's basic need for respect. Men need respect, and women need love. And so when a man does not have his need for respect fulfilled, he can react in unloving ways. Okay? And when a woman does not have her need for love fulfilled, she can react in disrespectful ways. And so that's really what I was seeing a lot of in these protesters, is just their woundedness. As a woman, I am a woman along with them, and so when I see these protesters reacting, they're just reacting from this state of woundedness within them, and that's, Jesus loves them too. He loves these people. These are people, just like you and I are. And when I encounter abrasive, crass women in my life, which I have, a lot, I see their woundedness. I see, they may have been through something super painful. And only God knows what that could be.
But you can't take that.
But you cannot take that and
make
make politics out of it.
And throw it onto somebody who may or may not have done something,
right,
and completely ruin them because for a cause.
Judge Kavanaugh is not responsible for each victim's woundedness, okay? I mean, he's a man. He's a white male.
People can still be encouraged to tell their story and speak out without ruining someone else's life over it.
Right. Now, if, the perpetrator did do that thing, yes, they should be prosecuted for it. Obviously, I'm all for justice. Yeah. But there has to be evidence. It has to be tried in a court of law.
No way to even know.
Ephesians 5:22 through 33 just basically just talks about the roles of a man and a woman, and it's still the same if you're single. A man's basic need is for respect. A woman's basic need is for love. So we have those basic needs. God created us differently, and it's not wrong to be different. It's okay to be different.
Yeah. And
Tali and I are embracing our own femininity, and we want to be ladies, and we want to be dignified and appropriate in the way that we come across with our opinions. Mm-hmm. We don't want to come across as crass and vulgar and disrespectful to people who don't share our views. Yeah. We welcome the debate, a respectful debate, but
we can be very passionate.
Yes, you can be passionate, but still be dignified and ladylike about it, and
towards
respectful.
Your male counterpart.
Right.
You need to show that towards men. Men need, they need to be shown respect. And of course we need to be respected as well. But, how is somebody gonna hear you and receive what you're saying when it's just like being screamed and shoved in your face?
Right. That's not the way to get anything done ever. I mean, does that work in relationships? No.
Let's be louder. Let's just be louder and louder and louder so you can hear us, because we don't feel like we're being heard. We don't feel like we're being heard. We don't feel like we're being heard. You are being heard. It's just you're being fooled into believing that you're not. So I'm going to end on that. Don't be fooled. Just because you're told something.
Right. So, we got to share our views. We just wanted to share what we thought about this whole case, and we want to do a few more of these podcasts in the future about different topics, not just politics or anything like that, but we want to do a few more in the future. So, we're glad that you joined us, and thank you for tuning in.
Thank you.
Subscribe.